decoding the fundamentals of crypto, one block at a time. Welcome to Chain Insights, where we analyze and break down the core principles of exciting crypto projects using cutting-edge AI tools. Always remember that our content is for educational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're doing a deep dive into Mantra Chain.
Oh, interesting.
It's this blockchain platform, and it wants to totally change how we deal with real-world assets.
Real world assets, huh?
Yeah, like real estate and art and even commodities.
Wow.
So we've got Mantra's website, explaining their big vision, right?
Okay.
But we also dug into their technical documents.
The juicy stuff?
Exactly. So by the end, you'll get what Mantra Chain is, why it even matters, and what kind of possibilities it could unlock.
I'm intrigued already.
So one thing that's pretty fascinating is how Mantra Chain is both permissionless, like blockchain should be,
Right.
but it also works for all these permissioned applications, real world stuff.
Yeah, that's the puzzle Mantra seems to have solved.
It does sound like a paradox, right?
Kinda, yeah.
How can a blockchain, known for being so open, handle the strict rules that come with real world assets?
That's where these smart contracts come in.
Okay.
Think of them as customizable rulebooks built right into the blockchain itself.
Interesting.
So Mantra takes all those compliance burdens, the KYC, the AML, all those rules,
Yeah.
and shifts it all onto these smart contracts at the application level.
Oh, I see.
So the base blockchain stays open and free, but specific applications, like if you're dealing with tokenized real estate, can have those rules baked right in.
So the blockchain itself is open,
Yeah.
but the applications on top can be permissioned.
Exactly.
That's
yeah.
actually a pretty clever solution.
It is, and it's a big deal for attracting serious players in finance.
Because
they need that guarantee of, following the rules.
makes sense.
Now, on to the really exciting stuff. Tokenization of real-world assets.
Okay, so this isn't a brand new idea, but Mantra is making waves. We always hear the hype about, owning a fraction of a Picasso or a slice of a luxury condo.
Right.
But how does this actually work on Mantra Chain? Break it down for me.
All right, so picture this. You own this amazing condo, right?
It's valuable, sure, but selling it quickly, not so easy.
Yeah, definitely not.
But with Mantra, you can tokenize it.
Tokenize my condo.
Yeah, so it's its ownership is digitally represented on the blockchain.
Okay.
And then those tokens, you can divide them up.
Divide them up.
Yeah, fractionalize them.
So then multiple people could own a piece of my condo.
Exactly.
And they each have a token.
A token representing their share.
Wow.
And those tokens, they're way easier to trade than, trying to sell the entire condo.
So instead of one person owning the whole thing,
Right.
you could have, say, 100 people, each with a tiny little piece.
Exactly. And those tokens become much more liquid than the actual condo.
So you could trade them instantly.
Potentially, yeah, on a decentralized exchange.
That opens up a lot of possibilities for, everyday investors.
It does.
Like people who maybe can't afford to buy an entire condo.
Yeah.
But then what about security and verifying everyone's identity?
Right, because real-world assets come with a ton of paperwork. So much paperwork.
That's where Mantra's decentralized identity system comes in.
Okay.
They use something called soul-bound NFTs.
Soul-bound NFTs. What's that?
It's imagine a digital passport, but just for Mantra Chain.
Okay.
It securely stores all your verified info.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically a digital birth certificate that proves who you are, right?
Right.
And you can't copy it, transfer it, or give it away.
So it's tied to you.
Permanently.
Interesting.
That's basically what a soul-bound NFT does in Mantra.
I see.
It makes KYC and AML compliance way smoother.
No more mountains of paperwork.
Hopefully not.
That's definitely a good thing.
It is.
But then how does Mantra Chain make sure that, decisions about its future are made the right way?
That's where on-chain governance comes in.
Okay.
Instead of some central authority calling all the shots, Mantra lets its community of token holders decide.
So the people who hold the tokens get to decide the future of the platform.
Exactly. It's like a democracy where your vote depends on how many tokens you have.
That makes sense. So people who are invested in the platform have more say.
Right, and they can vote on proposals, suggest changes, and basically steer the direction of Mantra.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
It is.
It feels like they're really trying to make something that's both innovative and accessible.
Yeah, they are.
But let's be real. How do you actually bridge the gap between traditional finance and this new world of tokenized assets?
Good question.
People still need ways to get their regular money in and out of Mantra.
Of course.
Right.
That's why Mantra has these on and off ramp protocols built in.
Okay.
So you can easily and legally exchange fiat currency, like dollars,
Yeah.
equities, and those tokenized assets.
So it's like a two-way street.
Exactly.
I can convert my dollars into tokens and vice versa.
Yeah, you got it.
And that's important for attracting both individual investors and those big institutions
It is.
because it makes it easier for everyone to get involved.
Precisely.
Speaking of connecting different systems, I saw that Mantra Chain is compatible with IBC.
Yeah.
That's the one that's connected to Cosmos, right?
It is.
Can you explain it for our listeners who might not know what that means?
So think of the Cosmos hub like a central hub
Okay.
that connects all these independent blockchains.
All right.
And IBC, that's the Inter-Blockchain Communication Protocol.
Mouthful.
It acts like a universal translator for these blockchains.
So they can all talk to each other.
Exactly, and it lets them transfer tokens between each other safely and efficiently.
Kind of like a seamless international payment system.
That's a great way to put it. And this connection is so important for the future of blockchain.
Yes.
It means that Mantra Chain isn't isolated.
It's part of a bigger network.
Exactly. It's plugged into this huge network of blockchains, which opens up so many more possibilities for users.
That's amazing.
It is.
We've covered so much already. We've got tokenization, decentralized identity, on-chain governance, and now even this interoperability.
It's a lot.
But it seems like Mantra Chain is checking all the right boxes.
Yeah.
But let's move from theory to practice.
All right.
I keep hearing about Mantra Zone and Mantra Dex.
Yes.
What exactly are they and how do they fit into the whole picture?
So Mantra Zone is basically your gateway into the whole Mantra Chain ecosystem.
Okay.
It's where you can bridge assets from other blockchains, stake your OM tokens to earn rewards, and even do these on-chain missions.
On-chain missions. Sounds kind of like a video game.
It kind of is.
Really?
They've made interacting with the blockchain more fun, more engaging, but turning certain tasks into games.
That's actually pretty clever.
And you can win rewards, climb the leaderboard.
So it's a fun way to learn about blockchain.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what about this Mantra Dex? I know decentralized exchanges are getting popular.
They are.
But what makes this one different?
Well, Mantra Dex has all these features that are designed to really empower users.
Okay.
You can swap different tokens, participate in liquidity pools to earn a share of the trading fees,
Okay.
and even use vaults for more advanced investing.
So it's not just about trading.
Okay.
It's about actively participating in the ecosystem
Exactly.
and maybe earning some passive income along the way.
Yeah, you could say that.
That sounds kind of like yield farming, which is super popular in DeFi right now.
It is very similar.
Cool. So Mantra Dex basically lets you put your assets to work for you.
It does.
All right, time to name drop some big names. Mantra Chain has some impressive partnerships going on.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about that billion-dollar deal with Damac, the real estate developer in Dubai.
I heard about that one.
And then there's the collaboration with Google Cloud for data storage and security.
Those are big names.
They are. It shows how Mantra is attracting these big players in traditional industries.
Right. It shows they're taking this seriously.
And it also shows the growing confidence in blockchain tech in general, right?
Absolutely.
And how Mantra Chain could potentially change existing markets.
It's exciting to watch.
Oh, and we can't forget Mag Group.
Another big one.
They're tokenizing $500 million worth of their assets on Mantra Chain.
Wow.
It feels like real-world adoption is actually happening.
It does.
But with all this buzz about partnerships and features, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture.
Yeah, it is.
What does this all mean for the average person?
That's the key question.
Right.
And the answer, it could be totally transformative.
Okay.
Imagine a world where you're not limited by your location or how much money you have when it comes to investing.
That would be amazing.
Right.
Like true financial freedom.
Exactly. With Mantra Chain, someone could potentially own a fraction of, a super expensive artwork or a piece of prime real estate.
Do tokenized ownership.
Yeah.
That's incredible. It's like breaking down these huge assets into tiny pieces
Right.
that anyone can invest in.
That's the idea.
But wouldn't that also come with its own set of challenges? Like, how do you regulate a global decentralized market for these tokenized assets? That sounds really complicated.
Of course, there will be hurdles. As with any disruptive tech, there are risks.
For sure.
But Mantra's focus on following the rules and
Right.
their community-driven approach to governance, those are good steps towards dealing with those risks.
So it's all about finding that balance, right?
Yeah.
Between encouraging innovation
Yes,
and making sure everything's done responsibly.
you got it.
That's a tightrope walk.
It is.
Wow. This first part of our deep dive into Mantra Chain has been really eye-opening.
It has.
We've talked about their vision, we've broken down the technology, and we even got a glimpse of their real-world impact.
We've covered a lot.
But this is just the beginning. In the next part, we'll go even deeper into what RWA tokenization really means and what it could mean for the future of finance and even beyond.
Can't wait. Yeah, it really seems like Mantra Chain isn't just thinking about the big guys, you know?
You're right. It feels like they're really focused on making this tech accessible to, like, everyone.
Exactly. And you know those on-chain missions we were talking about in Mantra Zone?
Yeah, the game-like things.
They're not just like a fun gimmick, you know?
Oh, okay.
It's a really clever way to introduce people to these blockchain concepts.
In a way, that's fun.
Yeah, and engaging.
Like learning about finance without even realizing it.
Exactly.
But where do you see this all going? Like, what's the big picture for Mantra Chain and, like, the whole world of real-world assets?
That's where things get really interesting, I think.
Okay, how nice.
We've talked about, real estate and art, but imagine tokenizing things like intellectual property rights,
Whoa.
renewable energy credits even,
Oh, that's a whole other level.
or carbon offsets even.
Now you're talking. That's like a whole other world of possibilities.
It is, right. It's like we're about to see this huge shift.
And how we think about value.
Yeah, and how we interact with these assets.
Exactly.
Imagine a future where you can easily trade all these things, divide them up, make them available to a global market.
It's like unlocking all this liquidity that was trapped before.
And creating these entirely new investment opportunities.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
It is, but of course.
There's got to be a but in there somewhere.
Of course, it's not all sunshine and roses, right?
Right.
Regulating this kind of global decentralized market, it's going to be a huge challenge.
I can imagine.
We'll need new rules. We'll need to make sure everything's secure and transparent.
Tough to figure out.
But these challenges, I think, are solvable.
Okay.
Technology's moving so fast.
Yeah.
There are always new solutions coming out.
So it's kind of like what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Finding that balance between letting innovation happen.
Right.
And making sure it happens responsibly.
Absolutely. And that's why projects like Mantra Chain are so important, I think.
Well,
Pushing the boundaries,
yeah.
But they're also working towards a financial system that's more inclusive, more efficient.
It's like they're building a bridge between the old world of finance.
And the new world of blockchain.
Exactly.
It's a fascinating journey to follow.
It really is.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? Like, what other real-world assets could benefit from this kind of tokenization?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
We've talked about some pretty cool stuff already.
Right.
But what about things like patents and copyrights?
Oh, interesting.
Like, imagine if you could tokenize intellectual property.
Yeah.
It could give creators and artists way more control over their work.
And new ways to make money.
Exactly. They could sell fractions of their work directly to fans.
Cut out the middleman.
Totally. And they'd have more control over their creations.
And it's not just artists, right?
Oh, right.
Think about small businesses, the ones struggling to get funding.
Yeah, that's a huge problem.
What if they could tokenize things like their inventory?
Oh, or even, like, their future revenue.
Exactly. It could be a whole new way to grow their businesses.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Right. It feels like we're just getting started.
It does. It's like we're just scratching the surface of what's possible.
Exactly. And that's what's so exciting about this whole space.
We're literally witnessing the birth of a new financial system.
Yeah.
One where technology actually empowers people.
And gives everyone a fair shot.
Exactly.
It's a pretty amazing time to be involved in blockchain.
It is. But let's not get too carried away.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about the good stuff, the potential benefits.
Right.
But what about the risks? Like, what could actually go wrong with all this?
That's a super important point. You're right. Like,
yeah.
Any new tech, tokenization comes with its own set of risks.
Like what?
Well, one big concern is market manipulation.
Oh, right.
If these tokenized assets aren't properly regulated,
Yeah.
we could see these huge price swings and like crazy volatility.
And that could hurt a lot of people.
Exactly. And then there's the whole security question, right?
Right, because we've been talking about how important it is to have these secure platforms and decentralized identities.
Yeah. But even with the best security, there's always a chance that someone could find a vulnerability.
So it's never 100% safe.
Not really, no. And that's why it's so important to have these ongoing audits, security testing, and just a community that's paying attention.
To catch things early.
Exactly.
So it's about knowing the risks are there,
yeah.
but not letting fear stop us from innovating.
Right. It's about being cautious, learning from the mistakes that have been made in the past, and putting those safeguards in place to protect people and make sure the whole system works the way it's supposed to.
That makes sense.
This has been a really great conversation, by the way.
It has. I've learned a lot.
We've talked about the good and the bad of tokenizing real-world assets.
Yeah.
And it's clear that Mantra Chain is really at the forefront of this whole movement.
It seems like they have the tech, the vision, and a growing community that believes in what they're doing.
And they're not just about disruption, they're actually committed to doing things the right way.
Yeah, following the rules, being transparent.
And involving the community.
And that's super important for building trust.
And for getting the rest of the world on board with this whole idea.
Because ultimately, it's not about just shaking things up. It's about building something that actually lasts.
And something that benefits everyone, not just a select few.
It's about creating a system that's fair and accessible to everyone.
Exactly.
And that's what makes this whole space so exciting.
It's not just about making money, it's about using this tech to solve real problems.
And making the world a little bit better.
Yeah.
This has been an incredible journey so far.
It has.
And I'm sure our listeners are probably full of questions right now.
Me too, probably.
So what are your final thoughts for them as we wrap up this deep dive into Mantra Chain?
Final thoughts.
Yeah.
Keep exploring. This whole world of blockchain and real-world assets, it's constantly changing.
It's like the Wild West out there.
Yeah, but that's what makes it so exciting, right?
Totally.
Don't be afraid to dig deeper, ask questions, and don't just accept everything you hear at face value.
Think critically.
Yeah, exactly, because this is just the beginning. The real potential of this tech, we haven't even seen it yet.
We're just getting started.
And it's up to all of us to figure out what that future looks like.
You know, it really feels like we're watching these two worlds collide.
The physical and the digital.
Exactly.
And it's not just about money, you know? Think about what this could mean for supply chains,
Oh, wow.
voting systems even, or how we manage identities. Imagine a world where, like, owning anything, whether it's a physical thing or something digital, can be tracked and verified on a blockchain.
Like a permanent record?
Yeah, a secure and transparent one.
It's the big deal.
It is. It could totally change so many industries.
It's like we're creating this, like, digital twin of the real world.
A mirror image, but on the blockchain.
Exactly. Mirroring all the complexity and potential.
And that digital twin, it's constantly evolving, getting more and more sophisticated.
And connected.
Right. It's really a remarkable time to be alive, you know, to see this kind of revolution happening right in front of us.
It is. And Mantra Chain seems to be in a great position to play a big role in all this.
They do.
They've got the tech, the vision, and this whole community that's growing around them.
And they're doing it the right way, too.
Right. They're not just trying to break things.
They're actually focused on building something that's sustainable, responsible.
And they're working with regulators, which is huge.
It is, especially if you want to get those big institutions on board.
Because ultimately, it's not about making a quick buck.
It's about building something that benefits everyone.
That's the key, right? Making this new system fair and accessible.
Exactly, leveling the playing field a bit.
And that's what makes this whole thing so exciting to me.
Me too.
It's not just about profit. It's about using tech to actually solve problems.
Make the world a better place.
Yeah. This has been an incredible journey.
It has.
And I'm sure our listeners are probably full of questions right now.
Oh, yeah, they've got to be.
So, any final thoughts for them as we wrap up this deep dive into Mantra Chain?
Let me think. Don't stop exploring. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
This world, the world of blockchain and real-world assets, it's changing so fast.
Every day there's something new.
Exactly, and that's what makes it so exciting.
Don't be afraid to, like, dive in, ask questions, and don't just believe everything you hear. Do your own research.
Exactly, because this is just the beginning, really.
The first chapter.
And the rest of the story, it's still being written.
And we all get to be a part of it.
That's the coolest part.
If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more deep dives into crypto fundamentals, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow.